Look, it's the secret tech, all right, you know. But no, we're going to get Lucian banned anyway, so unfortunately we won't get to see the Imperial Mandate Lucian, but Viego going to be locked in, by far and away Wei's best champion, so I'm not surprised to see that locked in, as Impact going to go straight towards the Gangplank, it looks like, which I don't think is the worst idea. I mean, getting that like strong side lane carry, where you're just able to play weak side against Bin, always works out pretty well.
It worked out well for them earlier as well. That Gangplank gave them so much damage in the fights versus T1. And Impact, obviously very well known for his Gangplank. It's not currently being locked in though, Dagda, you baited me. It is instead Lee Sin for Inspired.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious now what the plan is. I think if you go for a strong mid laner here, maybe that is just EG going right. Look, Impact, you can kind of take a step back here, because what we really want to do is get Jojopyun onto something he's happy with and make sure we can play into Xiaohu, because you've already got the Blunt gone, you've got the Ari gone as well, so maybe you're looking at something like the Zoe, maybe you want to go towards something like a Galio or something along these lines that can set up well in that mid lane, but actually going to go for a very early support, which is surprising because we've kind of seen support teeter down the list in terms of priority.
Of course, Ming, known as one of the best Nautilus, is in the world, so taking that away from him does make sense. Vulcan has been struggling to find his footing here at MSI, often caught out in the mid game. Perhaps the Nautilus just gives him a little bit more comfort coming into this game. RNG looking perhaps towards their AD carry, of course, already had 2 banned out, but the Tristana, the Kaisa, the Ezreal, all still on the cards. Instead, it is going to be Galio here for Wei. Well, locked in for Wei, probably going to Xiaohu, and there's the Kaisa.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Galio's been a very big pick for Xiaohu back domestically, and we start to see a little bit of it at MSI as well. Just the control that he's able to get on the map, the ability to play side lanes into looking for quick picks is super important, and especially if you're looking at these big team fights where you want to try and buy space for this Kaisa, or even if you're looking at something like a Camille in the top lane for Bin, you can go for that combo that works out so well. So I instantly see the Camille ban from EG, and I'm like, good job in spotting that one.
Yeah, I think it's one of those like barn door combinations, especially Bin's Camille.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, get rid of
I mean, the guy who's called Love Camille in Korean solo queue, like, he definitely has an affinity for this champion.
And the Camille Galio combination so strong. Kaisa, of course, able to follow up on that. Instead, EG will remove it from the pool. RNG here can look towards banning out mid laners if they want to give Xiaohu a little bit of an easier mid lane. And that's what they're going to do. Take away things that can roam. Twisted Fate, possibly Sylas as well, or even the Rise, which is something Jojo really likes to go to.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably going to be your best bet. I am curious as to what one they decide to let through. And as well, what like Jojopyun really wants to answer with. Because, I mean, look, you can go with some of these roaming champions if you want, but we've also seen him go back towards things like the Zoe and stuff like that as well. But I don't think you have the best of times here. But if you want to try and go for something like the Gwen in the top lane, potentially for Impact, maybe you end up going for an AD mid laner here that can actually go toe-to-toe with Xiaohu.
See if you can get Xiaohu caught underneath this tower. Of course, Galio's prime power is his roaming ability, and if you keep him under turret, it's roam or lose 6 CS, you know, and that adds up over time. And RNG now looking for their final ban. They will take away the Mordekaiser, something we have seen Impact bring out and something Impact is known for back in North America.
Yeah, brought it in the LCS playoffs, looked absolutely spectacular on it, and honestly, I think one of the few guys that I kind of go, oh yeah, that is worthy of a ban for Mordekaiser, because he's pretty damn good on it. But now I want to see what the plan is here for Jojopyun, because I definitely think you're going to have to go for that pick up here, leave that counter pick for Impact and see what you want to go for, but this is going to be very telling as to what the game plan is here for EG.
Well, it's going to be Gwen, so actually saving the mid lane pick for last. Not usually done, of course, because you already know what mid lane is from RNG.
But this is what we're talking about, right? Take the Gwen, have the opportunity to go for an AD champion if you want to in that mid lane. So we've already seen like the Tryndamere coming through from Jojopyun. I mean, not always the best into the CC chain that Galio can bring to the table, but certainly leaving your options open here for EG.
Alongside that, he has played Yasuo. It was part of that Yasuo-Diana combination.
Even the Aurelia as well is in there, so... yeah, I think a lot of these like melee matchups can do relatively well if they're left alone against the the Galio, but certainly when you've got the equation with Wei involved, that's where it can take on a very different beast.
Right now, RNG looking to round out with their support. Of course, Galio can be flexed to support. It's not usual, especially when you have Xiaohu playing the Galio. It's like taking off one of his best champions. But I like the Leona. Something like a Rakan could work well as well. Leona gives you initial engage, which you kind of need with this comp. Rakan, more of a follow-up engaged champion. So Ming on his Leona, very comfortable on that champion. EG now looking towards that mid lane. Now, if this was Caps, I'd say, Dylan, we have to go Vayne. But I don't know if Jojo is as comfortable in that mid lane pick. Let's see where he decides to go. AD an option for them, obviously. could go for something that he's played a little bit more, like the Rise, or even that Sylas. Instead,
is it the Gwen mid?
Could be Gwen mid, Aatrox top here.
Nah.
No, Sylas.
Okay, so we did get baited, but look, the option is still there, but I think the Sylas works out pretty well here, right? You're able to steal away the ultimate, you can follow up with the Galio and kind of, you've got a decent amount of ultimates here that you can play with, right? Even Engage for Leona, which I think they were kind of lacking a little bit on EG's side, but Gangplank can also be used as an engage tool, so I do like the pick and kind of helping to plug the holes that EG were looking at in this composition.
RNG very much based around this aggressive composition, diving into that backline. Galio, of course, roaming around the map as well, and Gangplank with the cannon barrage. Lots of AoE control for RNG when it comes to team fights. EG dashing, diving around a little bit more. They have a bit of engage, but it feels very much like they are trying to let RNG get onto them and then disengage the fight.
Well, that's the thing. I think you've kind of got the same on the opposite side, right? Because EG, incredibly short-range composition. Then you look at a Gangplank ult coming down, Galio ult coming down. It means that you've actually got the opportunity to try and kite back yourselves and buy space for this Kaisa. Whereas when you look at like the actual engage tools for RNG, you've only really got that Leona. So yes, you can use that as your tool to get into these fights. But I definitely think on EG's side, they're the ones that are going to be trying to jump in on top of RNG and trying to pick off this Kaisa as soon as possible.
I will say one of the things that we saw earlier today was Rumble Equalizer used as an engage tool. We do have that possibility with the Leona ult just used as, obviously, it's an engage tool, but you can just do it from long range and then try and follow up. The cannon barrage obviously does the same thing, slowing everyone. Big match for both these teams. RNG will keep themselves very much atop of the table, would need one more win or a T1 loss to claim first spot, and their pick of the litter when it comes to deciding on the semi-final matchups. EG here could separate themselves from their long-term rivals in the LEC, would put themselves at 5-3, tied with T1, and would mean just an incredible day for North America, beating both T1 and RNG on the same day.
I mean, what a conclusion to this day.
Yeah.
If that was to happen, like, what has been an absolutely topsy-turvy day, to have EG take down the LPL representatives would just be incredible. But we're going to have to see, because RNG definitely no pushovers, and it feels like you've got comfort across the board here, right? Being on a Gangplank, G2 know exactly how that one ends. Wei as well onto his most comfortable champion, Xiaohu on the Galio, Kaisa for Gala. This feels like just so at home for RNG.
Minions have spawned.
It definitely does. EG, I mean, they're pretty comfortable as well, you know? Impact getting the Gwen, Jojo getting his Sylas, Danny perhaps not on as powerful a team fighter as he usually is. Things like the Jinx very much in his wheelhouse, but Xayah still a champion he has piloted many a time. And we'll see how they're able to play out this game. Both junglers starting on the top side. No fake leashes happening from either team. There is a ward on the blue buff for Evil Geniuses, so Vulcan will be spotted as he steps around just to make sure no one's going for an invade.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the story was going to be there with Vulcan. I know he has that sweeper, so I wasn't sure if he's going to try and clear out the ward that is sitting on the blue buff, but decides not to instead. But both teams will realize with where Gala and Ming were positioned isn't going to be the bot side leech.
The only benefit, really, for RNG is that they know basically exactly where Inspired started, whereas Wei could have started red, worked his way around. Like, you doubt it would happen. It's not likely that it happened, but it's a possibility that Wei is doing something fancy in the jungle. He's not. He's going blue into Wolves alongside that Gromp. Nothing too spectacular. Impact gets the level 2 first here. Does take a parlay to his back. Grasp of the Undying on Bin. It's nice in these trades. Impact still pushing forward. Does have the Ignite. Bin still only level 1. Wants to level up to level 2. Xiaohu moving down towards the bottom side of the map just to get a ward down to make sure they know where Inspired is.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story here for RNG with Xiaohu. Like, getting the second wave crash means that he's able to lean out of the wave, get vision control on bot side. You got push as well for the Kaisa, so you're trying to make sure you can get as many of these scuttles for the Viego.
So importantly, Inspired knows that Wei and Ming went for this invade. Inspired now is going to say, okay, I'm not going to fight over my blue buff. Instead, I'm going to look for a fight on the bottom side as Gala flashes away from Vulcan. The invade continues. Xiaohu shadowing down. Gala no flash. Vulcan no flash either. Has the blue buff already been taken? It has. So you get a flash out of Gala for losing your blue buff.
But now you have push on the bottom side for EG, so what do they try and respond with? You actually have Danny and Vulcan starting to move in with them, but it looks like it's more to try and clear out the vision rather than try and set up a play. So I imagine Inspired will probably teeter back up towards his top side, look to take the scuttle for himself, quick reset, and then go back to clearing his campsite.
Just a one camp advantage now that flashless Gala has to be a little bit safer in this lane. Importantly, Vulcan hasn't taken Hex Flash, so it doesn't have that increased threat on the Nautilus. A hook can always just connect, but Gala will be using those minions to their best ability to make sure that he doesn't get caught out. Inspired spending some time down here once again. Still 2 camps for him to clear. He's falling a little bit behind in terms of jungle tempo, at least in terms of clear speed, as Wei is doing the Krugs. And I think Inspired was just hovering to make sure that Danny and Vulcan weren't getting ganked.
Yeah, just allowed them to crash that wave. Gala and Ming maybe actually looking to try and hold this one out for themselves so then they can actually set up a little bit of a crash back. But nicely done there from Inspired, just sticking around to make sure that EG weren't going to be exposed. But as you say, right, that's time invested onto the bottom side. So now he's only going to be clearing out his wolves now, which means they are going to stick around a little bit behind, but should mean he can match up with Wei in terms of like sinking where their jungle clears here are, which is really what you want to do as Inspired in this matchup, because if you end up in a 1v1 or these little skirmishes, that's where Lee Sin brings more to the table than Viego in the early stages.
Viego very good when you can get those resets up in the teamfight. Impact going with the damage here. Orange is eaten by Bin. Importantly, Impact does still have that Ignite going aggressive on this Gwen. You see a lot of Ignite TPs, sometimes see Ignite Ghost on the top lane, depending on the matchup, but Gwen doesn't really need a flash to be powerful. Once again, dashing in, building up that passive and snipping away at Bin, who is struggling in this lane. Impact has had some solid laning phases. I don't think he's ever he's really dominated lanes this MSI, but here he's getting a very strong lead against Bin in that 1v1. And
it's actually one of the guys that we highlighted the second day, of Rumble with Ox, saying that, look, Impact has actually been incredibly strong for EG, stepping away from just being a case of, hey, I'm the tank player, I'm kind of your solid guy on the top side, to stepping into the role of being a bit more of a carry with these things like the Gwen. We even got the Jax performance as well from him the other day. Like, it feels like Impact is kind of taking on a new lease of life, and when you come to an international stage, when you've got like rookies on your team like Jojopyun and Danny, to have a veteran of the caliber of Impact to kind of step up and take on these new mantles is just working wonders for EG.
Of course, Gwen in teamfight is just so powerful. If you can get to a position, get that Rift Maker, manage to get onto Gala. Gala will be looking to reposition on this Kaisa as often as possible. Relatively slow or relatively quiet early game from these two teams. We have seen action, but Vision catching out the junglers means that neither jungler's really been able to have too much of an impact as of yet, Dagda.
And this is what I find really funny when we get to international competition, because everyone's like, LPL's so bloody, it's a menace, they're all over the place. I'm like, RNG and EDG.
Nope.
Yeah! It's like, this is the slowest team, one of the slowest teams I will say that we have in the LPL. And definitely brings a very different style, but we might get some blood in the mid lane as both Ming and Wei are hovering.
It is interesting that sort of shift around in LPL, because obviously there are a lot of bloody LPL teams.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The region is very skirmish, very fight heavy, but both EDG, who obviously won Worlds last year, and RNG, who won MSI last year, and are now, they just won Spring Split, are slower teams. They don't tend to get early game leads. In fact, they tend to fall behind in the early
Well, that's
game.
what I mean. If you send our second and third, it's bloody, but RNG not really given that.
Xiaohu Predatoring in, the taunt's gonna land. Is there any way out for Inspired? Not today. First blood goes over to Wei.
Just a nice gank there from RNG, right? And this is where I think it's kind of been an interesting conversation about RNG, because one of the big things that we used to see was Ming roaming around a huge amount. I mean, you look at them at MSI last year, right? Playing the Xiaohu plus 4 wards, essentially. But we're not really getting that this time around from RNG. And they've actually been playing a lot heavier around that bot side. The duo proximity has been crazy high, at least domestically for RNG. But Ming at this MSI has started to get that roam style back and making it work around Xiaohu once more.
The Predator Galio is the deadliest, found his prey, Inspired fell in the mid lane. Just not respecting the fact that the speed could come out of a Predator's Xiaohu. Because of that, as you say, first blood going over to RNG.
I think it's just a bit unfortunate for EG, though. I actually like what Evil Genius is trying to do, right? Play around Jojopyun, get this mid-jungle roaming, and try and actually hit the play first before Xiaohu's able to get control. It's just unfortunate there that RNG were in the better position to make that play in the mid lane, so EG ended up falling down. But I think they should still try and make these plays happen, like try and use the fact you're pushing bot side to get Vulcan in mid and get Xiaohu uncomfortable.
See if they're able to do that. Because at the moment, Jojo, I mean, he's roaming around. He's trying to get out of mid lane a little bit to see if he can get into these other lanes. I assume he's hijacked away the Galio ultimate, that hero's entrance, but actually hasn't done it right now, just waiting for a little bit. Could look down towards that bottom side. Not much vision for RNG, who look to be playing towards the Rift Herald on the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Jojo just moving out to get vision down on that objective, so there's the ward that he just placed, but will be spotted out by RNG. And as you say, Jojopyun not really taking any of these ultimates. I actually kind of favor right now, because at least if you're looking to try and skirmish at this Rift Herald, having like options here, do we need the Bing Gangplank ult to help us follow up? Do we need to steal Ming's ult to actually be a big engage tool? Like, keeping your options open, I think, is pretty handy at the moment, but it looks like EG not really interested in trying to fight for this. Well, as I say that, actually, everyone roaming up here.
Jojo looking for the damage into Xiaohu before this Rift Herald starts. Inspired started working his way down towards the bottom side, maybe going for that red steal, currently being done by Gala and Ming. Rift Herald will be taken by RNG, and the fight that perhaps was promised doesn't materialize. Instead, RNG will take the Rift Herald. Red buff secured by them as well. Smart play by the bot lane from the LPL to make sure that they could get that red and not lose anything to the fact that jungler was spending time up on Rift Herald. Yeah,
I mean, you get a ward in the enemy jungle for EG, but not really enough to write home about. So you get the reset from Gala Ming, they'll still get to catch this wave. So again, this is where you're kind of seeing like RNG, how they play the map and how they can slowly start to eke out these victories that we've seen against like teams like T1, against G2 yesterday as well. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to keep that pace up, because it feels like we're kind of waiting on that explosive moment from RNG where we actually get Xiaohu to able to go down to a side lane, but Jojopyun has been contesting him well in mid and actually has a bit of a CS lead for himself.
Yeah, about 10 CS up right now. Jojopyun is having a very strong tournament, I think. Like, he hasn't peaked at the level of Caps or Xiaohu, but he is, for his first tournament in his rookie year, the guy is looking very strong, a great prospect for the future for North America.
And the big thing that I've liked as well is just seeing the growth of him, right? Like, even when he came in, look, you took a look at the group stage, whereas himself versus G2, and, you know, it starts off, he's struggling against Caps. He ends up having this Rise of Nivea game. It goes disastrously for him. And I think it's very easy in those situations to put your head down and go, you know what? These guys are just better than me. It's not going to be the case. But that's not who Jojopyun is as a person. As you've seen, like, from his Twitter, from his interviews, from everything, he's been absolutely incredible. And I love the fact that we're seeing this guy grow, because as a new player, the fact you're getting to go up against legends like Faker and Xiaohu, Caps, learn from some of the best mid laners that have ever graced the game, the best player to have ever graced the game. Jojopyun has been taking that in his stride, and to bring that then home to North America, to pop off even more than he has already, is going to be such a joy to see.
Obviously still has the opportunity to pop off here. Even more at MSI. Danny, though, isolated. Pops the Feather Storm, trying to get away. Flash predicted by Ming, but not used by Danny. Instead, Ming flashes forward, and that's the kill for RNG underneath the tower. Reactions coming out from Jojopyun as he looks for Wei. Heartbreaker going in. Wei trying to trade here. Stolen away. The solar flare. Jojopyun looking for the damage onto Ming. Stopwatch away. Xiaohu kills off Inspired down towards the bottom side. Jojopyun should be able to take one himself. Ming has nowhere to go. And Jojopyun and Impact should be able to chase him down. 2 for 1 so far in favor of RNG. Wei looking to make it 3 as Vulcan flashes to the safety of his turrets.
Yeah, he might have the hook though. Vulcan's still fishing here. Jojopyun waiting off the wings, but not going to try and follow up. So will be the 2 for 1 for RNG, and at least you have Impact, who did TP down to collect that wave, but he is losing a wave in the top side, and Bin is getting some of that much needed gold back in his favor with that turret place.
And Gangplank is so greedy. Like, he just goes around and collects all these bounties. The man is 25 CS down, and he has more gold than Impact. Impact burns his TP. Obviously, 2 plays going over to Bin as well, but Gangplank's passive. Danny here does everything he can to avoid this, apart from not walking into the bush.
Yeah, but you think you're safe, right? Because you think you've got the ward, but the amount of vision RNG have there that's already been swept, and Danny just unfortunately gets caught out by the flash stun from Ming. Jojopyun does get down here and nearly able to get the 2 kills, but the mana, just an issue for him there. And that's why when we're looking towards the river, RNG are confident to keep going, and we're still going.
RNG still chasing here. Impact stunned up with the Spectral Maw. Will dash across the wall. Solar Flare. Gwen's immune. And here we go with Wei diving further forward. Here is Entrance coming out from Xiaohu. Wei continues to look for the fight. It's the 3v2 right now. Xiaohu flashes. The Predator, the chase. The Winds of War find their mark, and Inspired alongside Impact will fall to the wayside. Now RNG hungrily ready to dive. Vulcan trying to survive as Nautilus is used to dives, but with the Rift Herald coming in, I'm not sure this dive is going to play out well for him. Rift Herald down, Vulcan nowhere to go.
Yeah, Jojopyun did steal the ult, but I think it's going to be inting if you go in with the Galio ult there. Vulcan will fall. Another tower going to go the way of RNG here, it feels, or at least a lot of those plates anyway, as Jojopyun will push in mid. Danny's collecting top wave, and Dragon will go to RNG.
And you asked for something explosive. You said we were waiting for it. RNG have delivered. 13 minutes in, they're now 3,000 gold ahead. It's the second Dragon of the game for them as well. Wei is 3-0, Xiaohu's 2-0, and RNG just, they rest any control EG had over this game.
I like the way you looked at the non-existent watch on your wrist as you said, you know, it's time for the game to blow open. I appreciate, you know, the cameras are on, but you're still ready in case we pop up. You know, this is where I didn't need to get to the level of LEC. You know, always active, always ready. You know? But look. Phenomenal setup from RNG, and again, this is where we start to see why it's so difficult to play against RNG. Controlling bot side so well, setting up the vision in advance, and you just end up having to in a lose-lose situation. Danny ends up giving up a ton of CS and experience on bot side because he's like, oh well, RNG could be waiting for the wings, or you just dive for the tower and you lose all that as well. You never have a moment to just feel good. It feels so constricting playing against RNG.
And even though Impact had an early lead in this top lane.
Maybe. Oh, hello.
So the important thing about this is you look at Cole 1 and Cat 1. Okay, that was 0.
Yeah. I was looking at main title left and right. I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, I understand that one as well. But yep.
See, this is why you're acting. So you're ready in case you come up on camera.
You never know what's going to happen. And Bin perhaps knows what's going to happen here. Puts the cannon barrage down. Impact trading well, though. Needle work, doing a lot of work. Xiaohu, though. The Predator, the chase. Impact nowhere to go once again. And Xiaohu on this Predator Galio is just everywhere on the map.
I mean, this is why he's been so prolific on it in the LPL. Why it feels like you've got to ban so many things against Xiaohu. Now he's going to move back towards the mid lane. Ming is going to hold on to the wave here. And again, you're just seeing this gold lead start to eke up further and further. Despite the CS lead that we had in the top, that's now nullified. The CS lead is still there in the mid lane, but you've got 3 kills for Xiaohu. That is making such a big difference here.
And for EG, of course, a win here would have been great, but it doesn't really change their prospects. If they lose, they still just need to beat PSG tomorrow to try and lock that top 4 spot. RNG with a win here mean at most they would have to play a tiebreaker against T1 for first place, but in like 99% of scenarios they're going to be able to get towards that first place and claim it for their own once again. Second year in a row, RNG looking to top out the groups and take the MSI win as Vulcan starts to posture for a fight. Rift Herald pulled back. Xiaohu going forward. Impact able to dash away. Oh, Danny!
Oh my god!
Against Gala! 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 The killer instinct! You cannot give this man Kaisa!
Oh, he's so good on it. Just getting the heal, just about getting the shield. And Danny is baited and outsmarted. And now EG setting up around the Rift Herald. RNG don't have the Kaisa, but they're perfectly okay, right? They're just going to take bot lane turret, knowing the members of EG are there. You got push going in topside for Bin. Maybe they just look to try down the ultimate here and, you know, throw the fisticuffs.
No cannon barrage available for Bin, but he is coming in. Vulcan looking for the knock up there. Hero's Entrance coming in as well, and Vulcan and Jojopyun will be knocked up. Impact going into the backline. Jojopyun trying to trade onto Ming. Bin in the middle of the mall. He's exhausted. The barrels, though, they still just burn you down. A double for Bin. Wei resetting. Jojopyun looking to try and cut this out, but Bin escapes. Jojopyun will get the counter kill. Wei, though, will chase him down. 3 for Bin, 1 for Wei. And RNG come out on top.
I know they get the Rift Herald as well. I love that Bin failed the flash over the wall, which gets him the triple kill, but he does go down anyway. EG, just unfortunate there. This is the thing, just you end up getting caught out so frequently by RNG. The AoE ultimates coming in clutch there.
They really were. No cannon barrage even available for Bin, but he is just so strong now on this Gangplank. And EG, there was a slight bit of desperation there. They were like, maybe we can find a catch, maybe we can find a kill. And that's kind of what you have to do in this situation, because you know, before that fight, you were 8-3 down. You were 5,000 gold in the hole, and even if you don't know exactly that, you know you are not in the best of shapes as EG once again look for another play. Wei has a tower here, though, and the hallowed path will give him the movement speed to get underneath that turret. EG, though, might not be stopping. The pain train keeps on rolling as they look for the dive. Wei here, underneath the tower.
Which way is it going, though? You've got RNG on the way as well.
Yep, he's there on your screen. You can see him. RNG Wei, as you say. Gala here on a ward. EG might try and turn. TP coming in behind Gala. EG looking to try and catch someone out, but Xiaohu was there. Impact dodges and dives. Cannon barrage used just to dissuade EG from any further shenanigans.
All right, so EG will end up backing away. RNG, though, still in control. 30 seconds until this next dragon, and EG do get mid-priority and can start to teeter on over, but you still got another wave to try and deal with, and multiple members of RNG are set up in this mid lane. I don't know if EG can try and contest this Gala.
Ming going in, looking for the stun here. The damage from Wei is there as well. Xiaohu looking for that taunt, only finds it onto one. Jojopyun, though, stand up with the solar flame, and RNG unrelenting continue their advance. Xiaohu will be taken out, but the chase continues for the rest of RNG. Danny tries to get away. Wei rooted still with the flash and the auto and the heartbreaker. It's enough. Gala gets a triple. Jojopyun left limping alone. The back comes out with a Rift Herald there from Wei. And EG, just nothing they can do in the face of RNG.
Yeah, now you get the mid lane tower. RNG get to fall back over towards the dragon as well. I mean, it is a bloodbath for RNG right now, and it's hard. I mean, for EG, this is a composition where you were hoping to try and slow down the pace. Oh, hang on, Gala. No. Okay, trying to slow down the pace of RNG, but as you can see, it's not quite working out for them.
I give credit to Jojo for trying.
Yeah.
Like, that's the sort of, maybe I can do it, let me test. Because right now, like, you're 16 kills down.
What have you got to lose?
You've got nothing to lose. Yeah. But you know what you have to gain? A Prime Gaming emote. Surprise! Don't forget to grab it. It's exclusive Prime. Every time there's a replay, you can grab it, you strut when you flash in and turn a fight like this.
Yeah, and look, I gotta say here, Ming flashing forward to get the Nautilus, and this is where we get to see that Ming isn't even the best Nautilus on this team, because Wei hooks inspired as he goes for the kick. That could have been beautiful, but instead, RNG able to find those moments to bring it back. Wei chases down Danny underneath the turret, and it's all coming up for RNG.
And then the Rift Herald enhanced recall means that Jojopyun isn't able to come around. You can see a little bit of a smirk, a little bit of a smile. That's what the way you have to deal with a game like this. Yeah. EG still in prime position to make it to the top 4, assuming they can beat PSG tomorrow. RNG in prime position to claim first spot once again. Definitely the most consistent team at the tournament so far, RNG, as they were last year. And with the Rift Herald coming down, 20 minutes on the clock. Jojopyun looking for a flank position. Do you really want to try and take a fight against RNG here? Impact's here as well.
We're going for it.
The thing is, if they're on Xiaohu, what do? Solar Flare stolen away, Everfrost used as well. Xiaohu can just taunt you all, unless you're able to CC him down. Solar Flare used onto Ming, there's the hook as well. Hero's entrance coming down, and Vulcan goes in and goes down immediately. Gala goes godlike, Xiaohu's still on the chase, the double taunt. Just clips the wings of Danny. And because of that, he pays the ultimate price. RNG take down the mid lane inhibitor tower and will turn their eyes towards the Baron.
Ton of respect for EG, though. Like, I get super frustrated at teams that just kind of go, oh, well, we're losing. I guess we just sit in our base and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we just scale, you know?
Yeah, that's how the game ends. Like, realistically, what EG are doing is actually the correct play of like, hey, look, let's try and go for some of these funky angles, see if maybe we can get into a position, maybe get some of these shutdowns back in our favor, because realistically, the slow game is just going to end in RNG winning anyway. So you might as well take these risks, but just unfortunately couldn't quite get on towards some of the key carries, and it does mean that RNG still have Gala safe in the back line, still have Xiaohu able to just clip Danny and take this fight.
That's the problem when you are looking for picks like that against a Galio and against a Kaisa, because whenever you try and pick someone off, it's like, oh, there were 3 people here now. Can't really take that trade. Bin trading onto Impact. 3-1 on the Gangplank. Didn't have the best laning phase. Impact was actually able to shut him down quite effectively, but Gangplank is Gangplank, and Cannon Barrage gave him a couple of assists, and since that moment, Impact, even though he can win the 1v1, isn't really able to do too much in the rest of the game. Because EG have put so much time down towards the bottom side, RNG will start up the Baron. Feels like EG are giving this one up. They say we can get a bounty in the tower down towards that bottom side, get ourselves a little bit of gold, even though we know we are going to fall further behind as this Baron is taken by RNG.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is where it gets very, well, already tougher for EG, because you've got the Rebel Baron power play, which is going to start to skyrocket. Then you get to push in these waves. You start to then look at 2 minutes until the Hex Soul coming through for RNG. And Baron is just going to be so good at preventing EG from being able to contest even that objective as well. So it just feels like this slow descent, which is why it definitely, I agree, if EG can try and make these quick plays and look for picks, it's worth it, but it just feels so hard to do.
And it is so hard to do. There's no feel about it, Dagda. It's so hard to do. We have perfect vision. I don't think either of us could make a setup for EG right now that would win them this game. Like, either of us being like, oh, if you just place here and then position over here, there's no wards in this area.
Just like run into them one by one.
Them, sure, but RNG have shown us so far this game, they don't really run into you too much. Like, Bin occasionally.
I would argue they run at you a lot, and they're just doing it as a
more
group.
Flying. You know? It's more flying into you. But yeah, I think it's one of those games where EG, you know, you sit back, you assess your losses, you try and make the plays, try and make the picks that we've been talking about, but it shouldn't dishearten you too much to lose in this fashion. RNG have just been able to strangle the game away from you since those early plays down towards the bottom side. EG will be looking to tomorrow. RNG will be doing the same. Of course, there are ways back in the game, but really relies on an RNG mistake for the LCS representatives. RNG, though, pushing in this bottom lane for that tier 2. And they will be able to secure it without too much pressure coming back from EG.
Yeah, and I mean, look, realistically, RNG going to be looking at that last game tomorrow where they are up against T1. in assuming that T1 take down Saigon Buffalo. Who the hell knows at this stage? Because the Buffaloes apparently have gotten going, but Xiaohu
with the flash taunt, chases in for Ming as well. Stun's going to go on to Impact, and although Inspired was able to escape, the same could not be said for his top laner. Impact falls, Wei gets a stun down. The rest of RNG not quite here. Killer Instinct is available for Gala, and he's going to use it in the midst of 3 heroes. Just coming with the chase as well. Cannon barrage in. Gala dodges away from the feathers. Stopwatches the pullback. That blade caller was negated entirely by the AD carry from RNG. And now with 2 players down, EG can only look and watch as RNG push towards their Nexus towers. Wei continues to chase forward, Vulcan doing what he can, but he can't do much. Solar player hits 3, but it's too little too late for Jojopyun and for EG. A good day for them still. Remember, they beat T1 earlier today. EG showed us that they can fight with the best. Today, though, RNG were just that little bit better. 7-1, clearly the best team at MSI. RNG take down another.
I mean, sometimes they're the best, sometimes they're not so hot as well. It's the 2 sides of the coin for RNG, but this time it comes up in their favor. Inspired will fall, the Nexus will go, and RNG will hit 7-1.
Strong performance by them all round. 2 more games tomorrow, of course. As we said, they play up against PSG and T1 to round out the group stage, or the Rumble stage. EG have some difficult opponents, PSG and G2. That EG G2 game, that could be
that is definitely going to be. I'm so excited for that game.
That's going to be good.
I mean, honestly, look, with RNG kind of moving into almost taking the top spot, like, you still have a ton to work with underneath that, right? Like, we really don't know what way it's going to end up with, like, T1, G2, PSG Talent, EG. Like,